Well, the time is just gone 9:22, and we're going across now to Sydney in Australia to be joined by Keysar, Australian-based author and writer. Now, just this morning, I actually received quite an interesting piece that was written talking about Muslims who ignore politics will be ruled by those who ignore Islam. And we are living in an age when oppression is dressed as diplomacy and tyranny wears the suit of democracy. The apathy of the Muslim Ummah towards politics is not just dangerous, it is devastating. And this is what we are talking about this morning, the Muslim vote, which has come under the spotlight. Now, we've seen it last year with multiple elections that had taken place in many parts around the world, including here in South Africa, where the Muslim vote was seen to be absolutely important and crucial, and particularly in the light of global developments, particularly in the light of what is playing out in Palestine. And this has become quite a prominent feature of Muslim participation in elections on governments and where governments stand as far as oppression goes and injustices that are perpetrated in many other parts around the world, like Palestine. Keysar Trader, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you for speaking to me this afternoon.
Yes, Jazakallah so much. And we, from the piece that I've just read out, briefly, talking about how important, how critical it is for participation in politics for Muslims, and especially in the day and age that we are living in. And for those of us like yourselves living in Australia, we know that Muslims have been under the radar, Muslims have been under the spotlight, but also at the same time, Muslims have been very, very vocal about their governments, about their leadership, and what is actually playing out in the political landscape, Kaisa.
Yeah, Muslims have been vocal, and my observation over the last 30 years or longer is that there are three groups in the Muslim community that would rather have us marginalize ourselves and not get involved. But the mainstream community does want to be involved, and there are Muslims in all the major political parties, even some of the conservative, even some of the far right parties have had Muslims participate in them. So we've had this argument, and we've been trying our best to convince members of the community to be active, to be involved, to be dynamic in the political process, and to have their say, to actually exercise their democratic right. And we've been arguing with those three other groups. Some of them don't want Muslims to even vote, not just not nominate, but not even vote. But Alhamdulillah, in Australia, we do have Muslims in the state parliament and also in the federal parliament. And we even have Muslims amongst the senior ministers in the government, in the federal government and in the state government. We've got Muslims on many of the local councils, and the call on Muslims to be involved, to participate, is gaining sway, but there are still pockets within the community that refuse to be part of the process.
Yes, but also I think what is important to understand, and we have been obviously following Australian politics as well, and the performance of these Muslim parliamentarians, and I must say, a number of them have done exceptionally well in terms of highlighting many issues that not only impact on Australian Muslims locally, but also with regards to global issues. Let's just understand, how critical, how important is this Muslim vote and why it's under the spotlight, and also more importantly, in terms of influencing the outcome of this election.
There's no question that Muslim participation in the electoral process does have an influence, and the advice of people like myself to the community has always been that look at the political power in your electorate and use that. It doesn't matter which party, it doesn't matter which group. Go in there, participate, show your strength, and in terms of being able to win votes or to support a different candidate, and and then make demands for the issues that are important to you, whether it's the issue of Gaza, Kashmir, Rohingya, all the issues that are important to us. Get in there and speak up. And of course, local issues. One of the most pressing issues that affects us locally is the push for support of gender dysphoria. Now, we want to protect our community from the trends in that area. And the only way to do that is to be politically active, is to get in there and show that we can make a difference. Now, there are groups that are coming out and speaking very forcefully and trying to direct the community's vote, especially in the lead up of the federal election, which is actually tomorrow. It's less than well, it's about 12 hours away for us, and we have a federal election. Some groups are going in there with a mindset to punish the incumbent government, even though it's a progressive government and it's a government that is far more supportive than the opposition. Some groups think that it has not done enough with respect to Gaza, and they've been encouraging the community to punish that party now. Calmer voices, more experienced voices in the community are saying no. Our role is not to punish. Our role is to represent our best interests and to go in there strongly and show that we can make a difference. In the end, political aspirants are survivalists, and they will take the stand that best supports their ability to survive and to continue in their jobs. And whether we like it or not, and with all due respect to them, politicians end up being an implement that the most powerful group will use to their advantage. The most powerful lobby, the richest lobby, the most vocal lobby, they tend to have a lot of sway. Now, I argue that we can have that power and that we should go in there and lobby for our causes as strongly as we can. And we can succeed. If we try, if we put the right effort, we can succeed. In the end, being a member of parliament, it's not the highest paying profession. If you're an honest politician, you can basically just make ends meet and have a little bit of luxury, but not a lot. But if you're a successful businessman, that is where you can make a lot of money. If you're a doctor, if you're a successful lawyer, if you're a successful architect, if you're a restaurateur, you'll make a lot more money than a member of parliament. So it's not about whether you want to go in there and be in parliament and sit there all day, so many days a year, arguing matters. You might be able to find a better advocate who is not yourself, and they will support you as long as you show them that you can make a difference in their electorate. Now, a lot of mosque organizations have done just that. A lot of Muslim community groups have done just that. They've gone to their local members of parliament and they've said to them, look, we can make a difference. There are issues that are important to us. Let's see how you perform in relation to these issues. And it's not surprising at all that they are making representations on the issues that are important to us. But we still have a fair way to go to get everything that we want as a community. We do have enough numbers to influence the outcome in as many as possibly 20 different electorates, maybe even more. If we continue working on using our voice effectively.
Well, certainly, and also I think I just see so much similarity in what is playing out in Australia in the elections in comparison to what's playing out in other parts around the world, and also here in South Africa. Or when you speak about punishing political parties for their complicitness in the Gaza genocide, that featured very, very strongly here in South Africa. You spoke about gender dysphoria. That also was another major talking point in the build up to the elections, but also at the same time, looking at a country like Australia, like many other parts around the world, where you've got a diverse Muslim population coming from various backgrounds, from various countries, from different cultures as well. Is there a unified approach towards the elections and towards the issues that matter most to Muslims in terms of their expectations as far as the political landscape goes?
Look, the approach is not unified. The sentiments are unified, but not the approach. And even though we have national umbrella organizations, and I say that with an S on the end, that there are more than one, unfortunately, those organizations do not command enough sway to influence the community, even at state level. In some states, organizations, the state organizations are a little bit more influential than their counterparts in other states. But still, uh, there isn't that level of fraternity in the community that we all work together as one cohesive unit. Um, but what makes our sentiments work together is our love of our faith. Our sentiments are informed by our Islamic teachings, and the more devout a person is, the more their sentiments are informed by the correct Islamic teachings. So that unites our goals, but it does not. It has not been enough to uh, uh, unite us in terms of being able to work together. And one example I use, and it's an example that I've given in an argument with members of the Muslim Votes Matter. So look, a great initiative that you are trying to educate the community, but don't uh, don't act like a child in a Disney movie. As you see, quite often children in Disney movies or young adults, they end up having disagreements with their elders, and they want to go and prove that they're right, that whatever notion crossed their mind is right, and they come back and they prove that their elders were wrong and they're right, and they re-embraced. That is not our approach. We are a community that is meant to work with the elders, respect the elders, and the elders are meant to have compassion and be lenient with the young. That is the hadith of our Prophet ﷺ. And that is one of the keys to uniting us and to benefit from the collective experience that we have in our community. But what we are finding is that a group of young people, and by young I mean including people who are in the middle age, are sort of working in a tangential manner rather than being able to work with the elders. And the more I speak to other elders in the community, the more I find the frustration that instead of using all our resources and working together and negotiating together, they've gone off. Some of them have gone off on that tangent, and the initial wish is to punish, even if it means pouring into the benefit of the conservative party that's trying to model itself after Trump politics, and the party that is exceptionally critical of Islam and exceptionally embracing of Netanyahu and the right-wing Israeli government. So I've explained to them, like, why would you cut off your nose to spite your face to do this, to punish someone who's more friendly to you by bringing your own enemy into a position of power is wrong. So we've been having some of these arguments, but Muslim Votes Matter is quite literally in its infancy in Australia, and it'll take time, and we're hoping that over time we'll be able to get back to the same table together and work together as a cohesive community, inshallah.
Well, inshallah, Jazakallah khairan so much for that case. In fact, I wish I had a lot more time with you because I know there's a lot more that you can actually contribute to this discussion. But I'm sure we can leave that for another day. But for now, we say Jazakallah to you. We will follow developments and let's just see how this election actually pans out in Australia as well. But, all the best to you and
Thank you.
assalamu
It
alaikum.
won't take long. The voting is tomorrow, so it won't take long for us to know exactly what the outcome will be. So by early next week, we may well know. We may even know on election night, depending on how the majority direct their votes.
Well, Jazakallah for that and for your time with us once again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It was my pleasure.
Keysar Tred, Australian-based author and writer, with us this morning. And with that, a quick break. We come back, and another interesting discussion coming up with Khadija Mahida talking about Muslim seeking understanding. Is it truly halal if it supports oppression?